good, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about how to arrange a beat in this style. This video is more for me than it is for you, but it's more so of documenting in my personal YouTube journal of how to make actual halftime. Now, I've come to realize that before, my understanding of swing has been a little bit different than how I describe it now, where I would categorize two different things of one type of beat being swung and one type of being drunk, where swing is actually the theme of today's video, where everything actually is on a particular grid, it's just in a different beat division, and drunk is kind of where you move things off in your own feel. And you might be able to achieve something like this by moving everything off grid on your own. Maybe you have that, that nice of a sense of groove. For me personally, I didn't figure this out until I started doing this. So big ups to Gerard for mentioning this and encouraging me to actually go back and explore this. Before I start this tutorial, welcome. There is a website in the middle of the screen where you can download a bunch of free stuff and also buy something if you want to support the channel. And some other ways that you can support the channel is just by either becoming a member or by interacting with my content with all the likes, subscriptions, and all that stuff. It actually helps me more than you think. So yeah. Second announcement, super quick. There's only a few days left of the Remix Jam. You can find that in the Discord. The deadline is October 3rd, and I'm really excited to listen to everyone's tunes on October 4th. You still have some time if you want to do that. Finally, I was having some trouble with the kilohertz link, and we finally got that fixed. In the Discord, there's also a link right there. It will take you to YouTube first, and then just leave YouTube, and you can use my discount code to get a discount. Multipass is on sale for $29 until October 10th. You can't use my discount code on there, but if you use my affiliate link, then I still get a portion of that sale. So, there's all that stuff. So yeah, let's talk about this beat. If you already know how to manipulate the different time or beat signatures here, then the premise of this is that you want to combine, drum elements and percussion in such a way that uses multiple beat divisions in order to create a pocket swing. And what that basically is polyrhythms, but in different kind of like beat signatures or beat divisions that are still in time in a perfect way. And that's kind of how you end up getting something like this. If you want a little bit more of an in-depth description about how that works, I'm going to talk about this from the kick and snare and so forth. So yeah, the kick and snare is actually the most varied between this. For the most part, the kick is on the downbeat of every bar or every, cycle, right? Where the kick is always on the one. This kind of helps us set the precedence between this because it will kind of help us figure out where to place our hats. But if you look at right here within this main section, sometimes I've kind of gone off and varied and done different things, but it's not exactly in time with this hi-hat. Generally speaking, you usually want to have this in time, and I'd actually argue that going back and listening to this a second time, this actually sounds better, but sometimes you can get away with that. Having this, the second beat in a seventh mode, is kind of how I got that. So that's a nice easy way that you can kind of get that laid back feel. But you can also experiment with other modes such as the quintuplet, which is what I did from before, where the hats are in sevenths and then the kick is in a quintuplet. Now you can hear that this is kind of off in that way, and so sometimes you want to be mindful of that, and that's why I would suggest keeping this in wherever your kick is, place the hi-hat there. But you'll kind of notice if you start to try to do that with the shakers and stuff later, then it might get kind of wonky. So the snare is bang on grid. If we take a look, you can use a time shifter if you want, or if you're in Ableton or something else, you can use track delays. Before, you actually couldn't use time shift to push a sample forward, but now I don't know when that update was, but now if you go in here and you change this to milliseconds and you do this, you actually can move this forward a bit, but this doesn't have any of that. The third kick is actually on the grid as well as a straight kind of beat division, but this one in particular is actually in a triplet. So if you look right here, I've moved that to a triplet, and that's going to kind of give this a little bit more time for that snare to hit. If we switch this to something like a septuplet right here, and then we go like this, and you take a look, it's going to be a little bit too fast for me. But by moving that into a triplet and nudging that over just ever so slightly, you can see that it is still on a grid in some way or another, but that sounds a little bit more natural to me, a little bit more kind of flowy, where it's not too pushed, where two transients aren't pushed too closely together. So a seventh on the second kick and then a third on the fourth, where 1 and 3 are on beat. And again, you can experiment with placing this on a fifth division, but again, that was a mistake that I made where I kind of probably should have placed that there. And the reason why is because of the shakers, and we'll talk about that in a second. So the hi-hats are all just in a seventh division or seventh beat division, and these are cool because it almost sounds like they want to be in time. And the more that I listen to it, like, because you have this off or uneven beat division, there's going to be certain times right here where it almost sounds right here, 2 spaces, 2 spaces, 2 spaces, and then 2.5 spaces, and then 1 space, where you have that kind of thing. So it sounds like it's picking itself back up and slowing down, but except it's done in a very methodical way, just because of understanding like time, right? So those beats right there sound like they're almost in time, and then it kind of cycles back over through that. This little snare roll, I'm really proud of. It's like, I don't know if you've listened to Ubane from like Orger and Ivy Lab, but that's like one of my favorite drum beats. But having a little rim shot right there is just magical. And these are divided into septuplets as well. So if you want that nice little perfect snare roll, that's what that would be. So you can see that right there. And then finally, we've got our shakers, which sound like this. Now these are in sevenths as well, but they're close together and then kind of pushed out. But the reason why this is kind of neat is because you can see that there's 1 space between these and then 2 and 3 spaces between these. So now, the reason why I was talking about fixing this from before is that if you have this in a 5th beat division like so, and it's under a shaker, then everything is going to sound kind of like just a little bit off. Sorry, let's play the whole thing together and let's mute the bass. But if you move everything over like this, then it's a little bit too late, in my opinion. See, it seems just a little bit too off. So I would actually recommend keeping that kind of there. And like, you can experiment with that, or you can even not have a shaker right there and move that over. But I kind of just want you to be aware of how you can kind of nudge these over in order to kind of still have a good sense of rhythm without breaking it too much, right? So that's pretty much it, guys. This is a great way to kind of explore and experiment with different beat divisions, but if you want a beat like this, then that's kind of how I did it. Don't really worry about so much of the other elements. These are the main things: the kick, snare, hi-hat, and the little cool little snare roll and shaker. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that, and happy swinging, and good luck on actually making some legit halftime beats and not that other crap that I've made in the past. I'll see you guys in the next video.